Hey, good evening, everyone. Today I'm just going to be reading from Isaiah once again. This time, chapter 14 out of the Hebrew English JPS, Hebrew English Tanakh. And I'm just going to get started. All praise to Ahaya. Chapter 14 reads, "But the Lord will pardon Jacob and will again choose Israel, and will settle them on their own soil." One thing that I think about when I read this is we have a soil, like we have a land. When I was being woken up and reading for understanding and all those things, it hit me. Spanish people come from Spain, English people come from England, Chinese people come from China. They want to say that we come from Africa. However, I know, we have a different spirit about ourselves than the African people do. That's just a fact. Like, I've met plenty of African people in my lifetime, and it's just a different way that we carry ourselves. It's a different spirit behind whatever's operating these bodies. And so it made me realize that we do have our own soil. And then when I realized that, I started looking for it, and all praise to Ahaya. Over the course of the last 2 years, I want to say roughly, he led me very slowly, as I was reading, and he would give me information in the text about a certain plant that grew in a certain area, or a certain tree, or a certain animal, or things like that. And granted, they have cut down trees and wiped out populations of animals to kind of hide themselves better, but you can't catch everything. So when you look hard enough, you'll see a lot of things only grow in the Southwest United States. So that kind of locked me into that area. And then from there, he showed me through movies, through conversations with people, through more text, yes, of course, exactly where Jerusalem is, and other places as well. But we'll just say Jerusalem for right now, because that's home. That's where we're all going to be going back to very, very shortly, or at least the 10% that make it. Continuing, "And strangers shall join them and shall cleave to the house of Jacob. For people shall take them and bring them to their homeland." It's very interesting as well, because that tells me people know. We just don't know. I've been saying for about the last year, Israel, Nevada is Israel, Nevada is Yasharel, Utah is the kingdom of Judah. The Negev is Nevada, is New Mexico, and things like that, and everybody thinks I'm bananas. However, I guarantee to you, people that live out in those places, maybe the mayors, the governors, police chiefs, people like that, they know 100%. That's why there's a lot of racism out there. I mean, there's racism everywhere, but it gets heightened in those areas. Like, they do not want black people there because they know. Continuing, "They shall be captors of their captors, and masters to their taskmasters." All right, so we're gonna flip, and we're gonna be the head, not the tail again. "And when the Lord has given you rest from sorrow and trouble, and from hard service that you were made to serve, you shall recite this song of scorn over the king of Babylon." How is the taskmaster vanished? How is the oppression ended? The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked, the rod of tyrants that smote peoples in wrath with stroke unceasing. So basically, the staff of the wicked, it's the system. It's our institutions. It's the government. It's forcing us to pay for food, water, clothing, when all that stuff is free. It's all free. It all comes from Ahaya. It all comes from God. And we're supposed to be living minimalist lifestyles anyway. We create so much waste here on this planet. And we're just living in a complete nightmare, essentially. Like, we shouldn't be living the way that we're living. We overconsume. "That belabored nations in fury and relentless pursuit. All the earth is calm, untroubled. Loudly it cheers. Even pines rejoice at your fate. And cedars of Lebanon, now that you have lain down, none shall come up to fell us." So even the trees are like, y'all not chopping us down anymore. Wicked people. Because that's what they did here in America. They chopped all the trees down on the East Coast because they didn't want us to have free food. You know, you go to other countries and you walk down the street, you'll see an orange tree, an apple tree, or whatever tree, pick it, you eat it, whatever. But here in America, the pollen gets so bad in the springtime here on the East Coast that, you know, everybody's walking around with the sniffles and everything like that. But it's not natural. It's because they killed all the female trees and replanted all male trees, which is not natural. So you create an issue giving everybody allergies with all just pollen with nowhere to go, because the pollen, you know, it fertilizes the female tree, helping to bring forth the fruit or whatever. But we also don't get the benefit of having the free food. And then if we wanted to take it further, you know, the Israelites, they would use the trees, certain trees, I think it was the male trees, to build their homes. So it's just a really bad setup. And the trees are going to be happy. Sheol below was a stir, which is what we consider a holding place for the dead. It actually exists. To greet your coming, rousing for you the shades of all the earth's chieftains, raising from their thrones all the kings of nations, all speak up and say to you, so you have been stricken as we were. You have become like us. Your pomp is brought down to Sheol, and the strains of your lutes, worms are to be your bed, maggots your blanket. How are you fallen from heaven, O shining one, son of the dawn? How are you felled to earth, O vanquisher of nations? Once you thought in your heart, I will climb to the sky, higher than the stars of God, I will set my throne. So it says once you thought in your heart. So this was before. And this kind of reminds me of Nimrod, because he was the first one that wanted to climb to the sky and set his throne above the stars, right? So we're dealing, I believe, with the same, probably the same spirit that is being spoken about here. I will sit on the Mount of Assembly, on the summit of Zaphon. I will mount the back of a cloud. I will match the Most High. I will be like the Most High, right? That's the famous from the KJV. Instead, you are brought down to Sheol, to the bottom of the pit. They who behold you stare. They peer at you closely. Is this the man who shook the earth? Who made realms tremble? Who made the world like a waste and wrecked its towns? Who never released his prisoners to their homes? All the kings of nations were laid, every one in honor, each in his tomb, while you were left lying unburied, like a loathsome carrion, like a trampled corpse, in the clothing of a slain gashed by the sword, who sink to the very stones of the pit. You shall not have a burial like them, because you destroyed your country, murdered your people. Yeesh. Let the breed of evildoers never more be named. Prepare a slaughtering block for his sons because of the guilt of their father. Let them not arise to possess the earth. Then the world's face shall be covered with towns. I will rise up against them, declare the Lord of hosts, and will wipe out from Babylon name and remnant, kith and kin, declares the Lord. I will make it a home of bitterns, pools of water. I will sweep it with a broom of extermination, declares the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts has sworn this oath. As I have designed it, so it shall happen. What I have planned, that shall come to pass. To break Assyria in my land, to crush him on my mountain, and his yoke shall drop off them, and his burden shall drop from their backs. That is the plan that is planned for all the earth. That is why an arm is poised over all the nations. For the Lord of hosts has plans. Who can foil it? It is his arm that is poised, and who can stay it? This is the pronouncement that was made in the year that King Ahaz died. Rejoice not, all Philistia, because of the staff of him that beat you is broken. From the stock of a snake there sprouts an asp, another type of snake. A flying seraph branches out from it. The firstborn of the poor shall graze, and the destitute lie down secure. I will kill your stock by famine, and it shall slay the very last of you. So the Most High is telling us he's going to kill the Philistines by famine. Howl, O gate, cry out, O city, quake, all Philistia. Pay attention. Quake, all Philistia. To my interpretation, the way I understand it, Philistia is that area of southern Arizona, southern New Mexico, along the Baja California region. So when he says quake all Philistia, he might be talking about an earthquake. For a stout one, I mean, it could be a tumult amongst peoples, like discontent among different people groups. But to me, the way I understand prophecy and the way things are going, I think he's talking about an earthquake in that area. For a stout one is coming forth from the north, and there is no straggler in his ranks. And what will he answer the messengers of any nation? That Zion has been established by the Lord. In it, the needy of his people shall find shelter. So in Zion, the needy of the people of the Most High will find shelter. Zion is Great Basin National Park. Literally. You have the city of the mountain of Zion, which is Great Basin. And then right next door, you have Mount Moriah. And in the middle of the two was an area called the Millo. On Mount Moriah sat the temple. The Millo people used to live in or did business, like the business district, shopping district, whatever. And then the other part was the city of David. And underneath the city of David is where you have the tunnels, Hezekiah's tunnels, Solomon's quarries, all those things. And we call them today the Lehman Caves. They just renamed it and blocked off access to all the different branches of those tunnels. But underneath Jerusalem, there was a bunch of tunnels. Jerusalem is Great Basin. All right. All praise to Ahaya. And that's actually the end of the chapter. So we'll stop there. I hope this helped someone today. And if there's anything that was confusing, please just leave it in the comments and hopefully I can clarify. Other than that, I love you guys. Salah.